Started out on live, man, that was the play. Streaming every night, building up the sway. But as the site faded, I had to find my way. Now I'm hopping platforms, surfing through the fray. Got my crew behind me, yeah, we call them givers. Chillin' IRL, catching all the rivers. Farkle in the chat, bringing lost to the grind. Talking crypto games while we sippin' Jack Fine. Gives a minute, yeah, we take our time. Living in the moment, the life's a subtle wine. From the land down under, streaming through the night. Got my heart New Zealand vibes, surfing waves day to night. Always looking for the next thrill, that's where I ignite. Community so solid, always shining bright. Rolling deep and cruising for the height. From the struggle to the stream, it's all just a game. But with the giver found, we're making our name. Jack and crypto profits, life just gets sweeter. Every view and every stream, making life a keeper. Give us a minute, yeah, we take our time. Living in the moment, the life's a subtle wine. From the land down under, streaming through the night. Got my heart on my sleeve, everything feels right. So here's to the journey, no regrets in sight. Each laugh and each tear, it's a beautiful fight. Keep the wave rolling, let the good vibes flow. We're the givers, together in the show. Gives a minute, yeah, we take our time. Living in the moment, the life's a subtle wine. From the land down under, streaming through the night. Got my heart on my sleeve, everything feels right. Script how we play a game. From start to the next time, chasing fame. With the gear behind me, changing scenes. So through the internet, living out the dream. Got my acoustic strong, curing and chill. Far cracking jokes, go stop the thrill. In the land, the king weeds, we ride the waves. Our most streams phone, no better days. Gives a minute, yeah, we take our time. Living in the moment, the life's a subtle rhyme.
Hello, the internet. It is Monday, the 12th of January, 2026, and welcome back to the channel. Now, I did something a little different today. I got myself a coffee before the stream. What? Normally, I take time to go and grab that during the stream. It's a thing that I do. But today, I have someone arriving here in the next little while, and I need to be ready to not evacuate. I need to be ready to jump out briefly. And that's when I'll play the surfing clip. So that's why I've got myself the coffee right now in preparation for this imminent arrival. But what we got lined up here, now I'm going to really mess this name up. Aakanksha Monga. This person, this YouTuber, how she films her travel vlogs alone as a solo traveler. Now, why is that interesting to me? Well, you know, I filmed my surfing content. Hey, what's that going on up there? That's just a hair. Man, that is so dusty. I got to really do a big cleanup here. JD Strobist. Oh, JD, how you doing, man? Very rare to see you in a live chat, man. Thank you for being here, dude. Appreciate all your comments on my plank videos. That's you pretty much just you for the whole year. So thank you, man. Nice to see you in the chat. Yeah, so I do all of my surfing content alone, and you know, like I use the solo shot. Well, I used to call it the slack track, but it works quite well. The solo shot 3+. If you're going to buy one, my advice would be, how would I word this? Don't do it. Don't buy one, but if you do buy one, just be aware that it may falter, there may be an issue, and if it does mess up, you have to send it back to Solo Shot in America at your expense. Thank you for all the planks. Thank you, man. Thank you for all the comments, dude. Yeah, man. What a silly idea to plank every day for a second longer and ending up at 366 seconds, 6 minutes and 6 seconds. I mean, I constantly amaze myself at how dumb some of my ideas are, right? Some of the stuff that I come up with, wow. But I did it, and then I did it again for a second year. If it wasn't dumb enough once, I had to ensure that it was super dumb by doing it twice, kind of anyway. What is it today? It's the 16th, no, the 12th January. I will say this, I've done nothing about any kind of similar project this year. I'm not doing it. I've just done nothing. I've just said to myself, I'm not doing that. And by the way, I'm creating content, but I'm still going to do vlogs, but I'm really more focusing on the live stuff. I'm going to get back out there with GoVan and do camping content and doing all that kind of cool stuff. But as far as like, I mean, the only reason I did that was just to sort of see how long I could plank and could I get fit for surfing. That was the concept. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Not one of my greatest ideas. The other really amazing idea I had, which I went on for about 4 years worth. Do you remember when I did a daily vlog every day for like 4 years? And the concept was it's 4 minutes of my life in one take. And there's a spider up there as well. My room is so dirty. There's spiders, there's dust, there's hair. 4 minutes of my day filmed in one take, and it's always filmed 4 minutes after the day before. And so the first time I started that project was at midnight, at 12 o'clock midnight to 12:04 a.m. And then the day after, it was 12:04 a.m. to 12:08 a.m. and then 12:08 a.m. to 12:12 a.m., et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, until you go through a whole 24-hour circuit. Now, of course, what are you normally doing at midnight? Normally you're sleeping. Not everybody. Normally you're sleeping. So from those vlogs that went from about midnight to about 6 a.m., they were pretty dumb because it was I set up an old camcorder on night vision, and I had like an Apple script with my laptop running to start the record. It was actually pretty rad how I did it. I fed the feed into the laptop all night, but then the Apple script just triggered to start the recording from 12:04 to 12 from 12 o'clock to 12:04. But it was boring, right? Some of those videos, they're all on my channel. Just dumb. JD, I think that was a good idea. In fact, I shared your details to a few YouTubers as I follow in the States that are on a fitness binge presently. Hopefully they'll give you a follow in some. Oh, wow, that'd be cool. Yeah, bigger fitness content from the States. That'd be cool, man. I mean, if you're going to send them anything, my advice would be send them the one where I talk about the projects over. The one I shot just recently up at Lemon Tree Passage, and I had that little time lapse of all 366 of them in the one video. I feel like that's the more concise one than picking a random number of plank. But I did enjoy when it got outside. Like I quite enjoyed being outdoors planking, getting in amongst nature and wandering around. I thought that was pretty cool. That's so cool. Yeah, thanks, man. Thank you, dude. Thank you, man. It's just amazing to have you here, man. Like, I know that this might not be the best time for a live stream for you, but it's good to have you. Also, I am trying something today differently. I am streaming at 1080/30. I am still using Beamstream, pumping it out across all the platforms. They did tell me DLive was the culprit. Today I started my live stream. By the way, this is for Beam if you're watching, Daniel at Beam. I started my stream with DLive turned off, and I still had to go and do it 8 or 9 times before it would actually take the feed. So it wasn't DLive. And I also added those other sites back in, like What's.live and Stream.place and Retake.tv and Valora, and I'm all there now. I'm all over that shiz. But yeah, so let's move on then, because we are on a time crunch here with pending 4 o'clock coming. But I want to move in and talk about how this person, or at least react to their video, how I film my travel videos alone as a solo traveler. Now, this is 6 months ago, so this has gone up a whiles back. So I just wanted to see if there's anything interesting here, because filming isn't very difficult on your own, right? Filming isn't difficult. Everybody can film themselves. That's not difficult. But what does get difficult is if you're doing an activity. Now, I'm not saying she does, but if you're doing surfing or something, that can get a little tricky because you're not on camera or you're not at the camera. You're in the frame, but you're moving. So I've got the solo shot. I'm just wondering if, and I'm not saying she's going to talk about that at all, but I just wondered, first of all, I've never seen this person's content before, but it's intriguing. A solo traveler creating content on their own. What are they doing? Let's find out. Where's my mouse? Oh, a plug. That was wrong. I did it on the wrong screen. My bad. Here we go.
Hello everybody.
Hello.
As you've probably read from the title already, today I'm going to be showing you how you can take amazing, beautiful videos and pictures of yourself when you're traveling alone. Because unfortunately, I do not have a secret boyfriend always hiding behind the bushes taking my videos, nor do I have a doppelganger who helps me film all my videos. But we're not focusing on what I don't have. We're focusing on what I
What's going on? Why is that? I changed my resolution down to 1080/30 and I'm still getting issues here. What resolution is this? 1080. This is 1080. Let's leave it at 1080. That's weird.
amazing devices that make my life so much easier to film and bring you amazing creative.
Okay, first of all, I do not like this content. I do not like this over-enthusiastic presentation. I do not like this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch it, just saying.
Videos from my solo trips, because when I decided to start traveling solo, I remember the first big fear that I had after safety convincing my
She's had media training to talk with her hands and do all this and animate. Come on, man.
Parents and all of that was that how am I going to get amazing videos and pictures of myself when I'm traveling? How would I create memories?
Why are you putting subtitles up? You're very clear what you're saying. There's no need for subtitles. You're not speaking a foreign language. It's English. It's very clear. Subtitles are only there for if you're speaking another language, aren't they? Aren't they?
When I'm traveling alone. And initially I thought it was really difficult. I used to spend hours filming and never getting good footage. And I also felt like traveling was just not fun when you're traveling solo and trying to take pictures of yourself all the time, because it's not easy, you know, you're constantly struggling, your camera is here, you are there.
It's such a hard life, isn't it? This is really, I'm sorry, this is irritating the hell out of me, this video. Just saying.
But now, after 5 years of having traveled solo to over 20 countries, I have a proper system and some crazy tips for you to get some amazing solo shots without putting in a lot of effort. Because this is something you need to know about me. I am not a cinematographer.
Oh my God, you're boring. Are there any comments? Very helpful. YouTube randomly suggested. I watched it twice. This video is very informative. I enjoyed the way she's explaining all these things. Make a video on mic and video editing. Video is pure and positive. I might just Mr. Negative. I find this the most horrible thing I've seen on YouTube in a long while. I only have one heart and it's for you. My goodness gracious. This is one of the best videos I've seen. What's wrong with me that I find this irritating?
I do not like to spend too much time optimizing, taking the most beautiful, most cinematic videos. But what I do like is capturing memories, telling stories. And so today's video is for anyone who's going to be traveling solo and just wants to take some amazing, cute pictures and videos to share with their families, to share on their Instagrams, whatever it may be, casual stuff. But it is also for those creators who want to travel solo, create amazing content and do some more complex stuff. We're going to be going through all the easy work first.
I mean, I'm supposed to be reacting to this, and I am reacting. I'm reacting poorly. I'm not enjoying it. I find this stuff to be cringe as all hell. But we know that, right? We know that about YouTube. YouTube is meant to be like this. Right?
And then the complicated stuff towards the end for all my fellow travel creators.
Oh my God. I mean, look, again, I'm coming from a place of an absolute dead in the water YouTube channel. Like, I'm coming from that. My channel is completely toast, right? Dead. So whenever I say anything about anyone else's channel, you should say, well, dude, you don't really have much to speak on, do you? You should probably shut the fuck up. And you're right. I probably should. But I still can't not be me. I've still got to do me. And me reacts to this stuff. And I think, I think this is what's wrong with YouTube. Unfortunately, this is what YouTube promotes, right? This is what came up in my feed. I didn't search this shit up. It came up in my feed. 357,000 views 6 months ago. It's garbage. But yet YouTube promotes all this crap.
I'm Aakanksha Monga reporting live from the content creation universe. So let's begin today's video by breaking down what you're going to be watching in each section. Number 1, the equipment.
It's just so
Number
cringe.
2, how to film yourself solo from the best angles. Number 3, storytelling tips.
By the way, that's not the best angle for you. That's an up angle. Every woman knows a down angle is always better. No matter how good you look, a down angle is better than the up angle. Unless you're going for a dramatic Blair Witch style sort of horror vibes.
How to film yourself solo from the best angles. Number 3, storytelling tips for more creative videos. And number 4, how to ask strangers to film your videos and take pictures of you without getting scared, anxious, embarrassed, and also giving them some good instructions, right?
Wow.
Now, let's get into the video. Alright, so first talking about all the equipment that I use in my videos, I strongly believe that when you're traveling solo, it's already really stressful.
Does she really talk with her hands like that amongst friends? This is just her camera persona, right? Please tell me she doesn't do this in day-to-day. That's grounds for dismissal. New friends.
Want to overcomplicate it with way too many things unless you're really into videography and photography and don't mind that. I personally like to enjoy my traveling and really focus on storytelling, or even when I'm traveling solo, like keep a check on my surroundings and be safe rather than constantly thinking about videos and pictures, which is why
your audio
I feel
sucks, by the way, love.
Simple is better. So I'm going to be starting with the easiest gear to use and carry, and then we'll go on to the gear that maybe you can use if you want to be a more professional creator. So everything that you see me shoot here on my YouTube shorts, on my Instagram Reels is all shot by my phone. I rarely use a camera because I personally feel that as an amateur videographer, someone who just likes to focus on simple storytelling, I like to use my phone a lot more. And I currently use the iPhone 16 Pro. Before this, I was using the iPhone 13. And honestly, iPhones are a great investment if you're thinking about content creation and want to get good videos and pictures. But if you're not, then another phone works totally fine. But
so the message, by the way, this goes for 30 minutes. I don't know if we can't watch all this, can we? We can't. So use your phone. Okay, let's just skip forward a bit. 3 golden promises.
There are 3 golden promises that you need to make before you start filming. So number 1 is always try to shoot with your back camera no matter what. I know sometimes we all get lazy and we just want to pull out like the front selfie and
Whoa. You just said you're using your phone to film and then you pull your phone out of your pocket? That's grounds for dismissal, right? We don't have to watch this anymore. She just lied to us. She just said she's filming on her phone and then she pulled out her phone from her pocket. Now, it could be a spare phone, could be her old phone. She said she had an iPhone 13. That looks like an iPhone 16 though.
Shooting, but honestly, half the time your lens is not going to be clean.
Could be your partner's phone, could be someone else's phone. Okay, fair enough, but I don't know if you're going to... don't lie to me.
It's not going to be great, and the video is just a lot grainier. So always try to shoot with the back.
That's not an iPhone 13, is it? They didn't have the 3 cameras like that. That's the 16, right? Mine's the 15. That's in a case though. Doesn't matter anyway.
Camera of your phone, because it just makes a world of the difference and the quality is just so much better. Secondly, lighting is everything. Make sure to always face the sun and not be against.
Lighting is everything, and she goes into the shadows. Sorry, I'm being super picky here, but you are talking about lighting, and the shot you're doing is in the shadows. Just saying.
Against it. I see so many beginner creators or people who are traveling with me shooting against the sun and then wondering why their videos look hazy.
Yo, Dogsky, how you doing, man?
Look at the difference between
what's cracking. How are you, Doug? Good to see you, man.
2 videos. One was shot against the sun and one was shot towards the sun, as you can see, and the difference is huge. Finally, clean your lens. This is a very underrated thing. Not so many people will tell you, but always clean your lens. Use any part of your clothing to clean your lens all the time. I always have a towel in my bag and I use it to constantly clean my lens.
Clean your lens. Okay, how to film yourself solo. Let's get to the goods of this video. Aakanksha?
0.5x camera on your phone. Now, this is something almost every single phone out there has, and the best one is definitely.
You got a few more minutes at work and then down to the beach. Nice, man. Enjoy the cool, refreshing waters. Very nice, man.
iPhone. So you go to your video mode and switch to 0.5x. And now what this feature would do is rather than giving you like a closed up frame, it gives you a wide shot and shows all your surroundings. And this is a great way to capture different creative shots. And I'm going to take you through a few of my favorite ones. So always make sure to play around with different angles when using the 0.5x feature. Another thing that I absolutely love is adding movement. So rather than just standing there or walking in a straight direction, move around with the phone. Maybe take a circle while you're holding your phone to show your surroundings in a 360 way. Maybe move your phone up and down. These are different movements that can just add a little bit.
Here's the most replayed section. This is the most played section.
Add transitions. Now what this means is basically adding the same movement.
She did. An iPad works well for filming. We know that. We definitely know the iPad works well for filming. I did all of my planking videos on the iPad. I think, well, actually I haven't done them anyway, but I was going to say if I was to do a similar project this year, I reckon I'd use my iPhone. I noticed that just in some instances, mainly in like forest areas, when there's like speckled sunlight, speckled highlights from the sun, I found that the dynamic range on the phone is way better than the dynamic range on the iPad. So where the iPad would just like and by the way, it's all on auto, everything, autofocus, auto exposure. But where the iPad would go and change the exposure for those speckled highlights, it would just blow it all out. Whereas the iPhone would be able to maintain shadows and highlights in the same frame at the same time. But, you know, and the other thing that I did, which annoyed me, and I did this too many times I did this enough to really mess myself up. I don't know why, but when you film in slow motion, you don't shoot 4K. I mean, I know why, obviously it's a different frame rate and everything, the processing space and blah, blah, blah. But what happens is when you go onto the iPad and choose camera, you choose video, and then underneath it is slow motion. So, and if I'm not wearing my glasses, like I don't often take these, well, I have another pair, but if I don't have my glasses and I just take the iPad out to do a plank and I press what I think is video, sometimes I pressed slow motion instead. And so it did still record video, but it recorded it in such a bunky resolution that when you put it back into Final Cut to add all the other stuff to it, it just looked rubbish. And that happened too many times. And I wanted to be able to go into my camera and disable the function of slow motion. I'm pretty certain you can do it on iPhone, on iOS on a phone, but on iPad OS, you couldn't remove that feature. So I had to leave the option to shoot slow motion up. Why is she showing portrait, not landscape mode? Yeah, big oof. But then again, maybe she's creating content specifically for a portrait style app.
To the start and the end of your video. So for example, rather than just starting your video like this, you will start your video with a movement. So let's say the side to side, or you go from top to bottom, or you just rotate. And now you will follow the exact same movement to start another shot and combine the two. And when you do that, your videos would look something like this. Okay, so now let's talk about static shots. Right now behind me is this beautiful background with the roses and all of that. And many times you'll have different things like lakes, a garden, whatever it may be. And maybe you want to get a really nice shot of yourself enjoying the view. And this is basically a static shot, which means that you're not using your camera in 0.5x. The camera is not moving and you need to set it up on a tripod. So for this, I basically...
So she's not using an iPhone to shoot that. There's that FaceTime camera that does tracking, but it doesn't track like that. That tracked her complete movement.
Camera is not moving and you need to set it up on a tripod. So for this, I basically put my phone on my longer tripod because it's taller, you know, it's on my height. But at the same time, if you want to use your Gorilla Pod, hang it up somewhere and use that, it's totally fine. All right, now that you know how to take the shot, let me also teach you quickly how to place your phone on a tripod.
How to place your phone on a tripod? Are you serious? We'll skip past that crap. Storytelling and posing exclusively for travel. I like that 90-degree new shot. 90-degree, right? I don't know. I'm not impressed with this video, but let's skip forward to the end here.
Of fun of your trip? And the answer is yes and no. Yes, if you don't plan properly, it can be a disaster. Like, you can feel overwhelmed. You will probably hate the trip, and you'll also just feel like, I didn't get any good footage. I couldn't capture any of my memories. Now I'm back from my trip feeling more stressed than ever. Or you could plan a bit in advance. So whenever I'm traveling solo, even if I wasn't creating content honestly, and I just wanted certain memories, certain pictures to be captured, I would just make a list, just a rough list of things that I want to make sure that I capture on this trip. So before I
when she moved to the new shop, swinging her arm, the up and down stuff, that's just a little additional transition action, isn't it? Anyway, I'm not that. I guess we probably should just take a look at her channel just in case, some of her other content.
I have
better.
a confession.
Aakanksha Monga. So I was just wondering, let's have a look at her most viewed video. Popular? That's that one. Okay, well, there you go. So isn't that interesting that that's her most popular content and YouTube is still promoting it? Let's look at her least popular. Popular, I've got to go to the bottom, don't I, for that? Maybe she's got too much content though. Her least viewed video is 5,000 views, discovering marginally disappearing island of the tribals. Okay. Well, in that case, let's look at her most recent. How much money do I earn to travel the world? Brutally honest income breakdown. JD Strobus, do you think she's got more than one camera angle filming simultaneously? I mean, she said she doesn't, but she obviously did in that instance because we saw a different camera. She held her phone up, unless she has two phones. I mean, that's possible. A lot of streamers have two phones, one for the chat and one for the camera. Let's just see what her regular content is, though.
Can you really get paid to travel the world? Who pays for all your trips? Where do you get all this money to travel all the time? So if you've ever wondered, how are all these creators always traveling the world? Where is all this money coming from? Then you've clicked on the right video. Hi, I'm Aakanksha Monga, and for the last 5 years,
Aakanksha. I got that completely wrong. Aakanksha Monga.
I've been getting paid to travel the world, and I do that by creating a lot of travel content on my Instagram channel, which you should check out if you haven't checked it out yet, and also on my YouTube and Shorts. I talk about everything from travel hacks to sharing different stories from around the world and inspiring more and more girls out there to go travel solo and to just explore their freedom through traveling. And I thought today it's high time I answer your question about how I earn money.
Hope that's not a copyrighted song.
First thing that every single person here needs to understand is how you actually make money as a creator. What's the basis of it? And that is distribution. And what does distribution even mean? Distribution means that you have a platform where you can distribute knowledge or information to a lot of people. And of course, how you build the distribution is through your content, by making good quality content, valuable content that helps people, that gives them value and gets them coming back for more and more. And so now that we understand the absolute basis of how anyone makes money, and of course, I'll be getting into the different streams in a bit, we also need to talk about how you make money when you have zero distribution. Basically, the first day you open your Instagram account, you start posting, you basically don't have anyone except maybe your friends and family who's actually following you, right?
Please don't say you buy them.
This is the reason why I tell a lot of people that when even I started creating content, I had a full-time job, I had internships before that. And so I never had this insane pressure to start making money from day one. And I think that is something that a lot of people can always do, that you have like something going on the side.
Okay, so don't go deep in, have a day job. Gotcha. No chapters in this one. Okay.
You have built trust with your audience. You have given...
See if there's timestamps here. No timestamps. There's a transcript though. Keep that shutter going and you won't get anyone. That is annoying. Keep that shutter going. Right. I don't know if I can watch any more of this. I'm not into her content. You know what we'll do? We'll move on. We'll just move on. It's my stream, my rules. Your stream, your rules. D-Live told us that. We're going to move on. Ghost Town Living or Tipsy Panda. I think we should catch up with Toothboy personally. It's been a while. We haven't seen much of Toothboy in a hot minute, so they say. Where are we up to with the Toothboy machine? We watched that one where he tried to make one little ounce of silver or something, and how much mining and what's that crap called again? What's the stuff that comes from the mine that goes into the silver? It's called galena, that's right. But either way, I think we're up to this golden pickaxe. And at this point, I will possibly say I'll have to jump out at some point during this, but I will come back. I'm expecting someone to arrive here, and at that time, I'll run my surfing clip, and then hopefully I'll get back in time. But just a heads up. But Toothboy, what do you got for us?
Hello there!
Hello there!
Welcome to the legendary mines of Cerro Gordo. This shaft you see around me used to be part of the largest silver mine in California, where they pulled over $500 million worth of minerals out of this rock. Oftentimes using one of these, a pickaxe, like this one that I found down here in the mines a couple years ago. And today, we're gonna use this, not just to explore some history, not just to do a little bit of mining, but to hopefully make some history by transforming this into something very unique.
He's going to gold plate that, which is interesting because I did go into, this is a little history here from myself. When I left high school, I went into a trade. I'm a tradesman. Does that change the game here? I'm a tradesman by trade, and I learnt electroplating, the very science behind what he's probably going to do in this video, gold plate that pickaxe. Yeah, we did all that. I hated the absolute shit out of it. I thought that was the most disgusting job in the world. You're literally working with chemicals, acids, horrible fumes. And the place I did I had a 4-year apprenticeship. I did 3 years of it in Sydney and 1 year or 2 additional years in Perth. The place I did it in Sydney, they just did not give a flying fuck about safety. They just did not care. They cut all corners. We were working with like sulfuric acids and chromium. What was that orange? There was an orange substance, water of a liquid that gave off such bad vibes. Like the fumes from that. I reckon I probably got some health concerns because of that. You could see the fumes going up into the sky, man. It was horrible. Anyway, that's how that's what I did when I left school. And then a little story time here. Then during that apprenticeship, or during the last year of that apprenticeship, I'm working in a factory, just the worst kind of environment, like just horrible people and just super lousy and lame. Like actually the pay wasn't too bad, but. And then a friend of mine says, "Hey man, you should." Actually, can I even say this? Well, something. I got a job in a kitchen, and instantly I'm working with young dudes, mostly men, but there's obviously a lot of women, a lot of chicks on the floor, like front of house staff. And I went from working in a factory with people talking about the fucking cricket. One dude I worked with, and I guess I probably shouldn't. Doesn't matter. Anyway, they're just bogans, right? And then I get into this other job in a kitchen, and I'm working with heaps cool people, like young people, fun people. You know, on your break, we'll go down to the beach and have a long neck and watch the sunset and come back, go and work. It was just awesome. We learn something every day. Gives the electroplater. Yeah. I still have my trade papers as well. Electroplating. I am never, ever going back to that. When I left that trade, I said to myself, this is a one-way journey. I'm never returning back to that, ever. And there was one point when I kind of considered it. When was this? It would have been 2002 or something, 2001. Somebody reached out to me, someone that I used to work with, that was still in that factory. Far out, man. They reached out to me and said, "Oh, we're really desperate for people." And I'm like, not that desperate. Like, you might be, I'm not. and I declined. Do you know what? Another little story here. My boss on that apprenticeship made me cry at work. A bit humiliating, right? Like I'm an emotional guy. Like I'm an emotional person, right? And when I was younger and I was a little bit more impressionable and I'd just come out of high school and I'm forced into this, I was not forced, but I was told that from my mother and father that you have to get a trade. You can't just bum around. You have to get a trade, got to get an apprenticeship. And this is the only thing that popped up. I was absolutely a shithouse at everything, like school and studies and everything. I was horrible. I flunked everything. I got 37 or something out of 100. Complete waste of time. The only thing I was good at was skateboarding, graphic design, and videography. Heaven forbid I go into those jobs. I tried to, didn't quite make it though. That's another story. But yeah, and I was impressionable, and I'm in this job, and my boss, sorry, not my boss, the owner of the business, but the boss that I worked for, like the head of the area, it was called EC, where I worked. This part of this factory they just called it the EC area. I don't know why, but anyway, my boss there was a pretty gnarly Maltese guy, and he threw brooms and shit at me. Like he'd go and clean up all that mess, and I'd be like, okay, and I'd go down there and start cleaning it, and he'd throw the broom. And I'd be like, I've already got a broom. And he'd throw one at me. And after a while, I went and spoke to the head boss, like the owner of the business. And yeah, he made me cry. In that meeting, I was crying in a meeting. And I'm not a kid, right? I'm 19 by that age, 18, 19. I always felt that was pretty wrong. Like that you should never get to the point where you're crying at work. Like they should have just fired that dude or moved me to a different department. Say, okay, you can't work with that guy if this is how it's going to go. And I was like, yeah, this guy threw a broom at me. Anyway, that's a side story, I guess. But yeah, it looks like he's going to do some electroplating. End of story. End of rant.
This thing has seen an untold number of days down here in the mine. And today we're going to transform it using the minerals all around this shaft. I am very excited about this one, so let's check it out. So this pickaxe, like most of the things left down here in the mines, is more than just a tool. It is a piece of history. It's from a time when this town had 4,000 residents, when it was the largest producer of silver for the state, and later the largest producer of zinc for the entire country. Back when the mine was running 24 hours a day, when there was 12-hour shifts, when the newspapers were reporting a murder per week, back when this town was an original Western boom town, known as the mine that built Los Angeles. But as these things go, when this tool and this town were no longer useful, it was pretty much forgotten. And I moved up here to Cerro Gordo in March of 2020 with this idea of bringing the town back to life, just to dive into the history here, understand everything that I could.
That was one of his first videos, wasn't it?
Back to life.
I remember that.
Just to dive into the history here, understand everything that I could, and share that history however I could. And not just understand the history, but hopefully add some new things to it. To leave some things for future generations, which is exactly what I want to do with this pickaxe. I have found dozens of these things in my 4 years living up here.
We're going to take a pause here, folks. I've got to run momentarily, and I will be right back. See you soon.
peg by accident. Didn't even see him on that wave until he was right there. And he's caught on the inside now. My bad. I have to apologize to him. Can't even see him.
righty then. Oh, crikey. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that. That was always going to happen. So what have I missed here? A lot of horror stories involving apprentices that I've heard over the years. Okay. RJ Martin, it looks wet there. Did you see Noah's Ark? Who is Toothboy? Who is Toothboy? Good question. Toothboy. Ghost Town Living is Toothboy. Let's continue on. Where were we with Toothboy? We were watching this episode and then I had to dismantle myself momentarily. Oh, by the way, RJ Martin, he's not here. Okay, my bad. I'm talking to someone who's not here. RJ? Well, so what? I won't even talk to you then. Excuse me, 1 second. Interesting. Amen. Where were we? Toothboy.
You can see them in our museum here at Cerro Gordo. But this particular pickaxe, I want to create something new. I want to wrap this literally with the history of this mine to create some golden beacon of the transformation that's happening up here. And to do that, I'm going to need some minerals. But luckily, minerals is one thing that Cerro Gordo has plenty of. So let's go check some of those out now.
Minerals. He needs to have a anode and an electrode.
Reports back in the day show that this mine produced silver, it produced zinc, it produced copper, and it produced gold. And so slowly I started learning, how to take this, which is galena, which is silver and lead, all the way down to silver to make things like rings, necklaces, and even coins. And then after tinkering for another few months, I learned how to take this, which is smithsonite, all the way down into zinc. And doing so just gave me such a better understanding of my entire existence up here. It wasn't just I was saying it's the largest silver mine. I knew what the silver looked like, how they refined it, what they used it for once they refined it. And the two other minerals that they mentioned in these reports that were here in any type of sizable quantity was copper and gold. And obviously gold is a lot more sexy of a mineral between those two. And so I started
Interesting way to describe it. Okay, Toothboy.
But we couldn't find it. So I turned to the next mineral, which is copper. And copper is an afterthought pretty much in Cerro Gordo. But one of the years they show that they pulled out 200 tons of copper.
Wow.
And again, if you adjust that for inflation, that's something like $2 million at today's market value. So this is nothing to just sneeze at. And so I thought, you know what? I need to spend a little bit more time focusing on copper. So my goal over the past few months was to use this knowledge of zinc that I already had, combine it with hopefully new knowledge of copper to create brass. And not just to use the brass to understand the history better here, but to use the brass to maybe make some history of our own. And so in this video, there's going to be 4 main steps to bringing a new life back to this pickaxe. First, we'll be cleaning the pickaxe. Next, we'll be collecting and refining copper and trying to get that copper to stick to the pickaxe. Next will be the same thing with zinc. We'll be mining zinc, refining zinc, and trying to get that to stick on top of the copper. And finally, it'll be trying to get these two metals to merge to create brass and leave us with a golden pickaxe. There's going to be mining.
Wait.
There's going to be
so he's not going to gold plate it. He's going to plate it in brass and call it gold? Okay.
Mining, there's going to be chemistry and all sorts of things that I've not done before. So let's get into it. So the first step to kind of get off this initial layer of the flaky, crusty rust is we're going to learn a little electrolysis. So I'm going to put some water in here, some soda ash in here, mix this up.
Miss Thunder. Hey Gibbs, how's everything going? Going well. How are you, Miss Thunder? Good to see you. Good to have you.
It's going to hopefully help push some of this rust off. Then we're going to hit it on the wire wheel. We're going to make this thing real clean before we start coating it. and then it will start truly transforming into something beautiful. So get a last look.
Great to
Here's what it
hear.
looks
I'm
like.
going well too. Just chilling. That's good. That's good. That's a good way to be. Chilling and relaxing. Nice. How did you survive the heat wave? Was it hot for you? We had 42 Celsius here. Heavens above. That was hot.
All the rust still on it.
And then today,
I have it
20.
wired up for the electrolysis. All right, you can see the rust still on there, but it's getting pretty flaky. Or I can basically just flick it off.
Got back from America last week. That was cold as, but it's been super hot here in Sunshine Coast. Imagine coming back from the States where it's, you know, winter time and then you just get hit with like 400,000 degrees in Australia. It's like, calm down. Let me get back home first. Let me chill for a bit. No, it's like, bam. Wow.
This thing is looking
Yeah, Tooth Boy.
clean.
Yeah, JD Strobist. I know, a mouthful of hot air. Right on, right on. Nice.
And so with a clean pickaxe, I needed some copper. And the copper up at Cerro Gordo is mostly in the form of malachite or azurite. And the good thing about that is it's pretty obvious when you see it. You can see here the copper staining. So you see the green, and that's why, you know, you think of the Statue of Liberty, green, because of the copper stain. There's chrysocolla malachite over here. You have a good example of malachite right on the surface there. And that is almost like velvet malachite is what they call that, where you can kind of see a velvety texture to it. Luckily, the old miner back in the 1800s did a good amount of work for us. You know, this isn't pure malachite, so I don't think that we're gonna get a huge percentage out of this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna grab as much of this as I can fit in my bag right here. We're gonna go back down. I'm going to smelt this down all the way to copper. And we're gonna see what percentage copper we're getting out of this stuff. Then we can do a little bit of an assay. You know, we can say, hey, if I were to take 500 pounds of this out of here, how much copper are we gonna pull out of that? And obviously it's gonna change based upon the content of it.
An assay.
My understanding of refining copper was that you could essentially just take the malachite, crush it up, heat it up with some charcoal, and at the end you'd have some copper beads left over the bottom. Again, remember, this is the earliest metal that humans ever refined, and so it should be extremely easy, or much easier than the other minerals that I had refined. All right, with sample A, the copper has become really tiny little beads. I'm talking about so small you need to use this tweezers basically to pick them out. But I'm slowly kind of sorting through, picking them out, putting them into this.
It's pretty interesting, isn't it?
Decent amount as they add up, and I think in the future I'm going to crush it not as small, so I get a little bigger beads.
You don't ever
we
think
have a decent amount going. So once I get these,
you don't ever, like, I don't ever consider where they get this stuff from. Like, where does this originally come from? Like, where do they get copper from? But this is it, right? And obviously they do it on a larger scale, and they have machinery and, I don't know, stacks of like piles. You see all those piles of minerals and rocks and stuff, and that's what they're doing.
all over here washed up. We're gonna weigh that and figure out how much we got out of the first 50 grams. All right, so these are all the small little copper beads that came out of batch A of the malachite. We have our scale here.
And such cool words like malachite.
Got us
Malachite.
0.77 grams. So about 1.5.
Malachite sounds like a name of a place. Malpezi comes from malachite. Miss Thunder. He doesn't.
5% copper on that first batch. I remember very early on in my time here at Cerro Gordo, a friend of mine and I went for a hike, and we found what we called the Blue Lagoon. There was just this patch of blue and green rocks that were all together kind of outside of this old shaft. And I couldn't really remember where it was, but I just texted my friend. He kind of gave me a clue to where it would be. I'm wondering if this ore is actually going to be higher percentage. So we're going to start there. If that doesn't work, just beyond it is where we got more of the malachite. But stay tuned. We need to get 50 pounds of copper ore. Some very green rocks. These I'm feeling better about. These look real green.
I'm assuming, Miss Thunder, I'm assuming you went to visit Malpezi, right? Or you went back home for Christmas? Or you took him back home for Christmas? I'm assuming that's what went down. You didn't say, but I'm just drawing one and one and making two.
Real, like green all the way through, not just like a surface layer of green. This isn't all the 50 pounds, but I'm going to get this melting down.
Went to California for Christmas and New Year's Eve. Nice.
And we're going to see how much copper we can get. Then
Nice.
We'll get the rest.
That's one place I didn't. I did a little New Year's Eve stream the other day, and I didn't look at how California celebrated. But I thought the New York ball drop was kind of tedious. I don't know. Just it seemed. I don't know. The Frank Sinatra song. They seem to do that every year, and it just. I don't know. I thought the most impressive one was the Sydney one. Sydney New Year's Eve was probably the most impressive.
Feeding it in to try to get to this pound of copper, but this stuff is looking pretty.
Yeah, Sydney always goes all out. They
Yeah.
far out, man. That the fireworks thing went on forever in Sydney. The only thing it lacked, I thought, was like a very concise ending, like a good build up to like a big thing. It was just like this kind of like all of it was just big and big and big, and then it was like, I guess that's it. But it was pretty rad. Normally in my local town they do crap fireworks, then you know it's ending because the massive one goes off. Yeah, there's always like the big finale, and I just didn't see that in the Sydney one. It's kind of strange. And then I was looking for the China, like I thought Shenzhen would be pretty good because it's an LED city, but they didn't incorporate fireworks. They just had the LEDs. I thought they might have included drones and fireworks, but they didn't. But it was still pretty impressive. I mean, it was very impressive.
All right, so after the Blue Lagoon stuff, that is what we have. And there's some good copper in there. And it does seem like leaving them in bigger pieces yields bigger pieces of the copper in the end. But I do not know how much that is. I'm going to melt that down, actually. And we're going to measure that to see how much we got. Because that doesn't look like a ton. All right, now it is time in the process to figure out how to get this copper onto the pickaxe. Now we're gonna do some more electroplating. So what we need to do now is take this to the copper. This is our final malachite result after all of those rounds and rounds and rounds of roasting. And I'm gonna put it in this mill here, and we're gonna stretch it out and thin it out into our own electrodes that we're gonna do to create a solution for the electroplating. So first step, take this, push it down into thin strips we can then dip and create a plating solution with. Getting longer. And after rolling that out, that piece of copper became this piece that is almost 29 inches long. And there you go. There are our electrodes. All right, now that we're getting a little further along, it is time to create a copper plating solution. I am not sure that this is going to work, but what I did was I took this copper that we stretched out with the press over there, add some wire to
That's
it.
his anode.
Dip this in some vinegar and salt, put both the positive and negative on the same one, let that go overnight. Hopefully then some of the copper electrodes get put into the solution, then we can use it for copper plating. Now if I do that correctly, then this solution should turn kind of blue.
And this is where you need to be in a ventilated area, or at least wearing a mask, and he's not, and we never did. I was going to school at TAFE, or Tech, Sydney Technical Institute, to learn about all this, and we were learning and we were doing it correctly. Then I'd go to the factory and they just didn't do anything like that. They just did it complete gung, like monkey style, just do whatever you want, and no ventilation. It was just horrible, horrible experience.
All right, I left it almost 2 days and I might have fried my copper. You can see it's deteriorating, and now we got our blue solution, which is good. So that means we can start coating the pickaxe and hopefully get a copper coating on to continue this process. All right, and now I have the fresh strip of copper, fresh off the press. So we're gonna hook that to the positive, the negative, to the pickaxe, and we'll hopefully plate this thing with that blue solution right there. Well, all right. It has been overnight. You can see our copper and the pickaxe. It looks like there's some copper on there now.
Definitely.
There's some extra stuff on the surface that will get off, but I'm gonna try to take this over to the grinding wheel. Let's talk the next part of making brass, and that would be zinc. And in this case, that would be this, which is smithsonite, a zinc carbonate. And I mined this 700 feet down this mine shaft over there. And I have a whole video about the various ways you can turn this raw substance into metallic zinc. But for the sake of this video, we are going to use the one that I found to work the best. And that is ammonia leaching. So basically, we're gonna crush this up. I'm gonna put ammonia in. Ammonia is gonna leach out the zinc ions. We're gonna put in electrolysis, and all those zinc ions are gonna go over to the negative cathode, and we're gonna scrape them off, and then we'll have zinc, and hopefully then we can have zinc and copper combined to make brass. One thing that I didn't do in the first video about refining smithsonite all the way down to zinc, I didn't get any idea of what percentage zinc I was getting out of it. So this time, I'm gonna do very similar to what we just did. I'm gonna see how many grams are in, let's say, 3 of these pieces. We're gonna crush them up, we're gonna do the electrolysis, and we're gonna see how much zinc we get out of this. From my research, reading some of the old USGS reports about this town, they were sometimes getting between like 30, maybe even 40% metallic zinc out of the smithsonite. All right, so there it is. There's the ground up smithsonite down to zinc carbonate, and the finer I get it, the more surface area for the leaching. So we're gonna do the same thing. I think I'm gonna take 100 grams of the powder, and we're gonna let it do the electrolysis process overnight and see how much zinc we get out of it. But it's hard to imagine, look at that white powder, imagining that is zinc. You're going to add some ammonia. All right, and now with the ammonia solution on our negative side, you can see, we got some zinc. All right, and now it is time to see how much zinc we got out of that 100 grams of smithsonite. So we're gonna open this scale up, turn her on. zero out one of these. And ta-da, we have 3.1 grams. So we only got 3% zinc out of the smithsonite that I ground up. That's not very good. They were getting 20 or 30%. So
Smithsonite. For real? Smithsonite. Kryptonite. Just all these funky words, right? It's funny.
almost 10 times as much. I know I lost some in the bottom of the container, so that lost us some, but that's not ideal. What started out as such a seemingly simple quest.
You know what he's going to do here? He's going to dunk us into an ad. He's got the element right next to him there. Seamless ad read right there. We're going to skip it. Element.
Stuff's great. I love it. So with the smithsonite, the more finely you can get it ground, the more zinc you can pull out of it. You know, there's more surface area to do the reaction, all that type of stuff. And before I was hand crushing this with a hammer over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And probably the biggest change over the last few months is adding this. This is the Mighty Mill. They don't sponsor me, they're not paying me to say this. I just think this thing is awesome. It's this little mill that attaches to a grinder that essentially you put in the...
Can only imagine accidentally shooting the drones out of the sky with the fireworks. Yes, yes, that would not be good.
Pieces up here.
By the way, JD, I feel like you're behind on the stream. If you press the live button, the little red button on YouTube, the live, you'll get back up to speed with where we are at on the broadcast.
It grinds it down into essentially like powder, which is just beautiful for this process. And you can see just how fine this gets it. This is so much more surface area than I could get hand crushing this stuff. So this has been a huge change, being able to use this little mill. All right, now that it has been, I don't know, 4 or 5 months I've been tinkering with the zinc, going through different processes, I've gotten pretty good at perfecting my formula from going from the smithsonite down to the zinc. I'm able to recover close to 20-25% pure zinc now. So after all that, after you run the electrolysis, you get the zinc to stick to the cathode, you're gonna take this stuff and we're gonna make it down into metallic zinc. So we're gonna take our little crucible, take some of this stuff, and kind of just pour it in there, melt that up, and then we're gonna have, finally, some metallic Cerro Gordo zinc. I'm going to take this zinc that is cooled down, still pretty hot, and I'm going to roll this out so we can create some electrodes, some anodes and cathodes. Then we're going to create a plating solution with the zinc. The zinc is going to go on top of the copper that we've already plated, and then it's hopefully when the magic happens. My hope is that I will be able to basically heat up the zinc enough to where it reacts with the copper behind it and creates brass.
Now I've dissed this process because of my history with the apprenticeship, right? The electroplating. But if you actually think about what they're doing, it's pretty cool. Like, no, I don't want to go back there and do that ever again. But I'm just saying, for someone to discover all this, some scientists to discover that you can do this with these raw materials that come out of the ground, basically, like it would have taken a long process to get there, right? And I guess like way back when, like even like ancient Egypt and stuff, they were plating, right? They were making gold plated everything. So this is historical. It's unfortunate that I went into that apprenticeship as a kid, because maybe had I have gone into it later on in life, I might have thought more about it. Like I might have thought more positively about it. But unfortunately, it was just the nature of just having to have a job and being in that kind of environment with a whole bunch of bogans. And, I was a skateboarder and listening to cool music, and therefore you were a weirdo if you didn't know who won the footy and you didn't listen to Cold Chisel, you were an outcast. And yeah, it's kind of funny. That's the irony of all. Don't get me ranting, but The bands I was into back then, they're the bands that those people listen to now. You know, like back then, Chili Peppers and Faith No More, and they were like, "You're a fucking weirdo." And now it's like, pay big money to go and see those same bands, Chili Peppers at stadiums and stuff. Anyway, end rant.
Very golden. This is our zinc solution. You can see one of our zinc plates completely gone. Hopefully now fully absorbed into this plating solution. The other, you know, has seen better days. So we are now going to assume that the zinc is now in the solution, and as we add our copper plated pickaxe to this, we will get a small coat of zinc. You can see this is what our copper is looking like right now. Pickaxe is looking pretty dang good, if I do say so myself. You can see there's still some spots that aren't perfect. All right, so there it is, fresh out of the zinc plating. So hopefully there's now zinc plated on top of the copper, and if I melt to the top, then we get a golden brass.
What the hell? What kind of an entrance was that? Holy shit, dude. Tooth boy. What the flying fuck did you just do?
All right.
Man,
now
that is too good. What inspired you to do that?
All right.
There's a lot going on there. He's come in on a side angle. He's jumped in. He's hit the desk. He's hit his hands. He's hit a feet. He's hit a clap. And then he's ended on a clap on the desk again. Love it.
All right.
Wow.
Now is the moment of truth. Something that has been 3 or 4 months in the making. The pickaxe now has the copper coat underneath the zinc coat. So my hope, my theory that I've been operating on this whole time is that I can now blowtorch this. The zinc will react with the copper, create a brass golden pickaxe. So we're gonna bring the camera over. I'm gonna torch this thing down. Fingers crossed. This was a lot of work to get this far. All right, we have the middle bit shined up, and I don't know if that's coming through, but that is looking pretty golden to me. Now, granted, yes, there are bits that look way more copper, but look at this top right there. Look at that. Look at this corner. That is
golden.
Freaking, there's some gold in there. Look, we're still at the kind of dull gray of the zinc coating, zinc coating, zinc coating. Boom! That looks... Boom! Coating, zinc coating, zinc coating. Boom! That looks golden to me.
Sounded like a dog howling.
That looks awesome. You can see, man, some of that is so golden up there. Yes, again, there is some bronze. So with some of that came gold. Like, look at that from that angle.
It's not gold though, is it? It's brass.
Bronze or brass.
Yeah.
Right in there. I still have to get the ratio right. I imagine it's not plating perfectly even. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this entire thing, and we're going to do the same thing. See how golden we can get. Just like that. That's exactly the color I want right there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
A golden pickaxe. Hardly golden.
a golden pickaxe head with a little bit of copper. Look at what we have. Remember how this thing started? Remember what it looked like way down in the mine with all that rust on it? Look at it now. We have a golden pickaxe head.
It does look better.
I'm going to keep buffering a little bit more. I think I can do a little bit more. But That is looking pretty dang good if you ask me. Now, I just thought about this. This is just a pickaxe head. So to make a pickaxe, we need the arm of it. And so with that, I think it's time for another adventure.
The handle, right? Not the arm. It's a handle, isn't it? Get a handle on
You
it.
know, after months, literally months, inside the hoist house in my little shop working on this pickaxe, I went to do the grand reveal and I realized it's just not that impressive just showing the pickaxe head. Well, I want to make this thing a pickaxe you can pick up, and swing around a little bit. And so for the handle, what I'm going to try to do is find some pinyon pine, some fallen down pine here on the property. I feel like making it out of something from Cerro Gordo is a key step. So just wait, the grand reveal is not there yet. I'm gonna go find some old wood that's fallen around here. We're gonna make that into a handle. I'm gonna shine it up a little bit more. Then we're gonna see what was made from both the minerals down in the mine and the wood around the property. So let's just try to find a tree. Now we are talking. This is pretty old. That piece right there is real nice. See that straight piece?
Put that back.
All right, so now we got this pinion that we're gonna make down to our handle. And
Pinion?
once again, not 100% sure
Pinion?
how to do this part of the process
What's a
either.
pinion?
But we got there with the head of the pickaxe, so we can get there with the handle too. And I have kind of this example one. I'm gonna hopefully go for something like this. This looks pretty nice. And this one is about 33.5 inches long. So we'll go 34. Fun fact, actually, sometimes down in the mine, you'll find shovels that are cut off, and you'll find all these ends of shovel pieces. And I remember the first few times that happened to me, I was like, why are these cut in half? It's because, the ceiling in the mines isn't that tall, so they would take kind of standard shovels, have to lop off the top of them, so that way they can actually do some digging down in the mines. I don't plan to use my golden pickaxe down in the mine, so we're gonna go full 34 on it.
How's he going to whittle it down?
Right, so I got my 2 test subjects, and I'm worried that this thinner one is not going to be big enough. It's very close. But I think this guy right here is going to be our handle.
JD, at least you succeeded and got through your apprenticeship with your trade certificate. You could always go back to your trade if you ever want. I know you're behind in the stream, but I'm never, ever going back to that trade. Let me tell you, it's decades ago, and I'll go and work in a restaurant. I'll go and work in a restaurant tomorrow before I go back. Wait, that doesn't sound right. I love working in restaurants. I'll never ever work in a factory. I'll never ever work in electroplating ever again. I'm firm about that. It's bad on your health. It's horrible money. It's a dying art. Actually, it's not dying because you still need a lot of electrical goods, zinc plated, copper plating, PCBs, printed circuit boards, all that sort of stuff. There's big money in it for that. But yeah, the chrome plating of car parts and, old school bumpers from, muscle cars and stuff. I got lucky, or well, not lucky, but in Sydney, when I did 3 years of the apprenticeship, it was industrial electroplating. Yo, Ricky, how you doing, man? And then when I moved to Perth, I got it was more decorative, so we did a lot more of the bumpers and gold plating and polishing of brass and all those kind of artifacts. That was a bit more interesting, I guess. I couldn't find the live button. Sorry, I'm watching this on an iPhone. I might be old. Oh no, it should be there. Little live button. Tap on the screen. You should be able to see it. Anyway, so it's all good.
Getting closer. So after some time with a bandsaw, sometime with a planer. That piece of wood, you can still see some imperfections that we took out of the forest. The core of it is looking pretty good.
It's a good piece of wood.
So now I think it's time to do some work by hand, get this thing looking real good, and then we'll have our pickaxe.
Sitting on an esky. Hey, what happened?
Oh, I'd say it's looking pretty good. I don't know how it's coming out on camera. There's some cracks because this is, you know, wood's been sitting on the sun for probably 100 years, but it's the shape I pretty much want it, which is exciting. I still have to do the head, which I'm gonna have to cut a slit and then kind of keep that on there. But I think with a little bit more work, the basic shape is here.
Looks pretty good.
Very close.
I didn't think it would be anything like that. He's almost got it, right?
And in the end, here it is. I mean, have you ever seen a more beautiful axe? I'm serious. Have you ever can even think of a pickaxe anywhere in the world that's even close to this beautiful? Don't tell me if you know of one, because I need to relish in this a little bit longer. But I think there's just something very primal human instincts about making things with your hand. You know, I think especially in today's era where we're living an increasingly digital life, to go back and to connect with the raw materials that are in the real world around us and know that we're supposed to use these raw materials to build real things that you can touch, that you can hold, that will stick around for future generations is just a beautiful feeling. And it's one that I think is so easy to forget if you work all day online like I used to for a very long time. But the moment, you know, you kind of see something come together and you can see even its imperfections remind us that it was made by hand, but that just adds to the beauty of it.
It looks rad.
It's a very exciting thing, and I am very proud of how this came out. This will be on display in our museum here at Cerro Gordo for hopefully a very long time to come. So you're all gonna come up and check it out. But I think if anything, it kind of just gives you a little bit of agency and confidence to know that you can take something raw and turn it into something new. Look at that, even on the end there. Looks great. And so I'm very excited to see where this kind of
Can he swing it though?
woodworking bug will take me over the next few months. You know, it'll be winter, I'll have lots of time inside, maybe to work in this shop to do some fun things. But this is it. You can see the imperfections where it was thinner metal here, so I blasted through to just the copper in this section. But I think it turned out great, and again, I can't wait to see what I'll come up with over the next few
It does
months.
look it looks pretty damn good. It's strange though, because he was saying oh wow, he's hammering it in there. I mean, it would have been good to see him like go down into the mine and use it for a bit. That would have been interesting to see if he could get all the way, you know, get deep in it and start work with it. That there concludes the stream for today. I want to thank you for being here with me. JD Strobist, it was mainly you here, which is not irregular, unusual to have you here. You're always in my comments, which I appreciate, but it was lovely to have you in the chat on the stream today. Now, you said you were watching on a phone, and I don't think you could find the live button. I think if you just tap the screen, it should then come up that there's a little red icon saying live, and if you press that, then you jump back to the most current part of the stream. But either way, yeah, I appreciate you being here, and well, next we stream, we'll hang out some more and we'll talk more stuff and we'll have a good time. Until then, I'll see you on the flip side. Thanks for being here live with me. Now go back to doing what it was you were doing. And I'll see you on the flip side.
But as the sight faded, I had to find my way. Now I'm hopping platforms, surfing through the fray. Got my crew behind me, yeah, we call them givers. Chillin' IRL, catching all the rivers. Farkle in the chat, bringing loss to the grind. Talking crypto games while we sippin' Jack Fine. Gives a minute, yeah, we take our time. Living in the moment, the life's a subtle rhyme. From the land down under, streaming through the night. Got my heart New Zealand vibes, surfing waves day to night. Always looking for the next thrill.